Welcome to the Stuff You Should Think About podcast, where I answer everyday questions about phenomena and objects. Hey, how's it going? Hopefully, pretty good. Today is one of those topics that honestly nobody really wants to need, but a lot of people do end up needing it, and usually at a moment when their brain is just not firing on all cylinders. So I want to keep this calm and simple. If someone has died, or you're thinking they may have died, the first priority is not planning, not paperwork, not calling 10 relatives at once. The first thing is to have the death confirmed by the right professional or service. If the person was on hospice, you usually call the hospice team first because they often have instructions already in place and can guide you through what happens next. If it happened in a hospital or care facility, staff will usually handle those first medical steps. If you're at home and there isn't hospice involved, call emergency services or the person's clinician, depending on the situation and local guidance. The point is, you want an official confirmation from the people who are supposed to do that. And I know this sounds obvious, but when people panic, obvious things stop feeling obvious. Just to say it clearly, focus on safety and respect. If there's no immediate danger, don't move the body. Don't start rearranging the room. Don't try, fix things up before someone gets there. It can feel caring to do that, but in a lot of situations, it's better to leave everything as it is until a professional gives directions. Now, if the death was unexpected or the cause is unclear or it involves injury, violence, or anything suspicious, then authorities may need to investigate before anything else happens. And that part can really feel upsetting because families want to jump straight in the comfort mode. Totally understandable. But if law enforcement, emergency responders, or medical examiners need to be involved, let them lead. Their role is to determine what happened and make sure the proper legal steps are followed. That can also mean waiting for responders, waiting for instructions, waiting for the body to be moved. And I know waiting in that kind of moment feels awful. It really does. But it's part of protecting everyone involved, including the person who died. If there's immediate danger, though, that's the exception. If there's a fire, a gas leak, a traffic hazard, some kind of unsafe environment, then call emergency services and follow safety instructions first. Same thing if another person at the scene needs urgent help. Safety has to come first. So, very stripped down, very plain. First, get the right people involved to confirm the death. Second, if the death is sudden, violent, or unclear, understand that an investigation may come before any other arrangements. Third, unless there is an immediate danger, do not move the body. Just pause. Let the professionals guide the next step. I think sometimes having permission to do less in that first moment is actually helpful. You don't need to solve the whole day in the first 10 minutes. You just need to take the next correct step. Once the death has been confirmed, the next phase is the practical stuff. And this is where people start getting hit from all sides. Because now there are calls to make, names to remember, documents to find, all that kind of stuff. So let's make it tidy. Who gets contacted next? Usually depends on where the death happened and where it was expected. Family or the closest decision maker is usually contacted early, of course. If the person died under hospice care, hospice may help coordinate what comes next. If the death happened in a hospital, Hospital staff often explain the process and what the family needs to do. If the death was unexpected or falls under certain legal requirements, a medical examiner or similar authority may be involved. And when the body is ready to be released, a funeral home is often contacted for transport and care. A lot of times, people ask, who actually handles the body? Usually, professionals do. Funeral home staff, hospital staff, medical examiner personnel, depending on the circumstances. Transport, refrigeration, and preparation generally follow local rules. That's important because people hear one story from one state or one country and think it applies everywhere, and it may not. So if you're unsure, ask the hospital, hospice team, medical examiner's office, or funeral home what the local process is. Now, documents. This is the part where I want to tell people, if you can't find every paper immediately, take a breath. Find what you can. Commonly needed items often include identification for the person who died, medical paperwork, if it's available, and any advance directives or similar documents if they exist. That might include instructions about care decisions or wishes that were written down ahead of time. If the person had made plans in advance with a funeral home, those papers matter too. You may also need your own identification if the person making arrangements or receiving information. And, if you're helping a patient, sibling, spouse, friend, whoever, it can help to keep one folder or one envelope and just start putting everything in there. Low tech, but it works. I love organized systems until life gets weird. And then suddenly an envelope is the greatest invention on earth. Another practical thing, write down names. The name of the person you spoke to, their office, the time, the next instruction they gave you. Grief makes memory slippery. You think you'll remember, and then 2 hours later, you're like, wait, who told me to call back after 3? Was that the hospital? Was that the funeral home? So, yeah, write it down. And if multiple people are involved, it helps if one person is the main point of contact. Not because one person should carry the whole burden, but because mixed messages can make a hard day harder. One person talks to the hospital or examiner. One person updates relatives. One person gathers documents. Divide it up if you can. So the short version here is, after confirmation, the next contacts are usually family, the relevant medical or legal office, and a funeral home when appropriate. Gather identification, medical paperwork, and any advance directives you can find. And remember that the body is generally cared for by trained professionals under local rules. You do not have to improvise this part. Thank goodness, honestly. After those immediate steps, families usually move into decisions about final arrangements. And this is where emotions and logistics kind of crash into each other. Because you're trying to honor a person, but you're also dealing with permits, timing, money, location, and everybody's opinion. That can be a lot. The main options people often choose include burial, cremation, and green or other alternative burial options where those are available. Burial is more traditional than other things for many families. Cremation is another common option. Green burial, generally speaking, is chosen by people who want a simpler or more natural approach. Depending on local rules and what's offered nearby, the exact options can vary by area. So it helps to ask what is actually available where you are instead of assuming every option exists everywhere. Then there are service decisions, whether it be a funeral, memorial service, graveside gathering, viewing, or something very small and private. Where will it happen? At a funeral home, place of worship, cemetery, another approved location? Those choices often depend on family wishes, any instructions the person left behind, local requirements, and budget. And budget matters. I know people sometimes feel awkward saying that out loud, but it matters. Practical limits do not mean you love someone less. Not at all. There may also be permits or authorizations involved, depending on the kind of disposition and where it takes place. Funeral homes and other licensed professionals usually help families understand what paperwork is needed. That's one reason using licensed professionals is such a big deal. They know the order of operations, they know what's required locally. They can tell you, okay, this form first, then transport, then scheduling, then the rest. When your brain is in a fog, the kind of structure helps a lot. Payment is another part of this. Families need to decide who is responsible for cost, whether there were any prepaid plans, and what level of service is realistic. If there was an advanced plan, great. That can answer a lot. If there wasn't, it's okay to ask for clear price information and explanations before agreeing to things. Ask what each charges for. Ask what is required and what's optional. Ask them to slow down and say it again if needed. Seriously, you're allowed to do that. And maybe that's the biggest thing I want to leave with you. Slow down. That's it. Slow down. If you're dealing with death, especially for the first time, you don't need to know every rule from your memory. You don't need to perform expertly. You just need to ask the next question. What happens now? What do you need to know from me? What are my options? Is this required? Who is licensed to handle this? And the most important thing is to move carefully, ask questions, and use licensed professionals. Let them help with the technical parts while you make the decisions that matter to your family. And if this is something you're facing right now, I'm sorry you're in it, really. I hope this made the path feel a little less confusing. We'll talk again soon.